any second. So sorry for the inconvenience, a little bit of technical issues in the background, but no problem. Let's break that down. So Old School, in lane, Blackfeather, facing Hardek. That's going to be a tough one. I mean, of course, he has the Book of Eulogies. Haven't cast it for a while, to be honest. It's going to be an interesting
No, it's gonna be totally fine. Like you do see here, like Hardik does have a good advantage because he can make use of Old School's melee.
Yep.
Just heal himself out and buff himself, dealing a lot of damage. However, we do see here like Old School grabbing that Book of Eulogies. He does have a way to sustain himself.
Oh, Hardek here getting poked a lot, and that might be the first, but it is the first blood from Fortress, picking up, but the action is not over. Old School might fall here. Vonsi going for it, very highly aggressive, popping that fountain. Might escape, has it up, there is the Kaku, and that should be it.
Yeah, you know, Vonsi does have that every time, so with his hero perk, every time he does get the auto attack off, he does have that movement speed. And that pretty much helped him clean up the kill on Old School and get away with his life.
Alright. So let's see, we might have the casters back, so Tasty Jester, if you guys are here, please take over, relieve us, and take it away, guys.
Alright, there we go. We are back. Minor hiccup, technical difficulty, but we are back. Everything is sorted and hopefully will remain under control as we are into about 2 minutes into game number 1 of Nemesis Hydra taking on Excrucio. So we do have, right now, it is 1-1 in it's the Vonsi and Ezidox with the kills, but that's maybe about to change. Lost Boy Toph having to pop that potion in order to stay alive, and now Vonsi, no fear, just fight himself, going in deep and trying to just get that little bit of extra damage on, see if they can pick off a kill. I Love Joseph and the rest of Excrucio are going in hard. Vonsi is so deep, but he's going to be able to get away. The fire is burning onto Ezidox, but it's not quite going to be enough, as he is going to start that recall. An absolutely hectic skirmish in the lane as Old School is the next target, but he's going to be okay as well. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Lost Boy Toph and Vonsi are chasing each other around, but now Lost Boy Toph is making his way back to the lane. Hardek is so low. The shield from Arden keeps him alive. What a incredible fight here in the first couple minutes of this game.
So today's theme is long drawn-out fights with all the defensive cooldowns and nobody ever dying. So that's we've seen this multiple times today. It's just you know, there's a lot of early game survivability on both sides, and it just kind of came to fruition there. Vonsi on this target. That's what I'm really excited about here, because if you thought that a buff comp on Blackfeather did well, why don't we go back to like one of the original Taka players, to Vonsi, Tony Luo, right? And you bring him into this meta with an assassination mindset. Well, I think we're just gonna have a good time. But Nemesis Hydra and Excrucio, wow, look at the damage on Old School. He just evaporates.
Yeah, that is just so insane, the amount of burst that just came out there onto Old School. Now, Ezidox trying to hold off this turret as best he can. He's gonna be able to, make Nemesis have to back away, or maybe they just decide they don't want to go for that dive. But either way, it is a slight lead in gold for Excrucio, but kills for Nemesis. But it is neck and neck. I mean, that gold is about 100 to 200 difference. And now they're going to go and try and get it in Hardek, but it is so hard to get a kill on an Adagio that has his heal available and has an Arden sitting right next to him.
Yeah, the big thing is Lost Boy Toph right there with the Vanguard. So not only can he negate a lot of that early burst, but then whatever does get through, Hardek can heal. We do got, boots for Hardek ready to go as well. So, I mean, if he does get caught anywhere past the middle, I think could actually be a kill, but anything more defensive, especially with Last Boy there, it's just not going to work. And this is a team, like, Excrucio is going to have to chase a lot if they want kills.
Oh my goodness, another dive onto Old School and another kill picked up as Nemesis, I think they have, isolated or identified their target and are going to be looking to just isolate Old School over and over again. And it's a smart tactic. We saw it work earlier today against Hammer's Kinetic with T-Tigers. The target is much easier to kill, Blackfeather is, than a Krull, And but the fight is going to continue. Lost Boy Top is the target of Excrucio's affection this time, but here comes Von C from the backside, and it's Ezidox getting dropped very low. Is the movement speed there?
Ooh.
The stun from Kroll on Von C under the turret. He uses the chitin to try and stay alive, but it's just not enough. An absolutely clutch level up from I Love Joseph, and is able to save his roamer. And this game, this is already, I can tell, this is going to be one of the more exciting matches of the night.
Yeah, Atako really wasn't looking for that from Hell's Heart, but good on Kroll to keep his teammates alive. And Von C, you're going to see that a lot, because that is just how Von C rolls. He sees a kill, he's going to go for it. And I think blood in the water is a little bit of a term that Rome used a bit earlier. Now Hardek actually could be in some trouble.
Yeah, and that is going to be Hardek once again just barely surviving the Spectral Smite, and instead it is Von C turning this one around. I Love Joseph is the next target. The turret is not going to do enough damage to get a kill, and it is only Ezidox left. Going back to what you said about the aggressiveness of Von C, if you ever watch his stream, he is one of the, the originators of the no fear, just fight, I guess, movement going through Vainglory right now. You see a lot of people saying it and talking about it. He's one of the ones that started that. And that is definitely his style. But Lost Boy Top is going to get a clutch gauntlet, stunning up both Old School and Ezidox, and again, a narrow escape.
Now, during all that, Von C was off in the jungle as well. So not only did Excrucio put 3-man pressure to defend their lane, they lost out their jungle during all that as well. So not only is Von C now level 8, taking the level lead here, but Hardek is going to get that verse up here fairly soon. We just saw that gauntlet go down. No kills again. Lost Boy Top living up to, God Boy Top or Lost Boy God, whichever you want to call him. And again, this is just a ridiculously hard combo to kill. Between Hardek's heals and Last Boy Top with that Vanguard, now the Gauntlet for the reposition, it has been absolute hell here for Excrucio because they've consistently been pushed up against their turret.
Can we just go ahead and take a moment to talk? Never mind, no we can't, because Von C is looking for another fight. The Burst of Judgment not quite going to connect, but Ezidox is so low. The From Hell's Heart is going to whip, and I Love Joseph is in some trouble, but Von C, he's just hitting anyone he can, whoever is in range, and the heal is going to come out. The Fountain does get the healing, and that will be a kill picked up by Von C. Now 4-1. The turret is going to go down, and at this rate, I don't think they're going to be done fighting. The Kaku is available for Von C. Used it just for a little bit of healing there, and then he's going to go ahead and take that healing camp, get himself topped off a bit. Now that there is a little bit of a lull, going back to what I was saying, Von C's itemization.
Yeah. He's had the double armor almost since, I think, level 4, level 5, when they got one of those earlier kills. So he's had that forever because he knew he was going to be going deep. Not only will Old School be on top of him, but I Love Joseph and, Ezidox, his auto attacks are not exactly something you could really ignore later on. But a breaking point, like these longer fights, he is itemized perfectly to go for that synergy.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the breaking point early is definitely unconventional. A lot of people don't build it because you do need to do damage in order to get those breaking point stacks, but he is having no problem doing that as he's just, again, consistently diving in onto the back lines, even under turrets. He doesn't care. All he wants to do is fight, get these kills so that his team can get the objectives and the farmers. We're seeing it again. I Love Joseph is so low. Von C will fall, maybe going a little bit too aggressive this time. Hardek is trying to get away. The gauntlet comes out, but it's not in time. That will be 2 kills now picked up by Excrucio. Lost Boy Top, the only one left. And Excrucio decided to play it a little bit safe. They've seen Lost Boy Top have these 1v3 plays before. They say, you know what? Let's not give him that opportunity. And instead, they will just chase him down consistently. That minion mine doing what it can to I Love Joseph, but the smite finally comes down for that 3rd kill, but he stayed alive long enough to prevent the ace. That is Lost Boy's signature, is just staying alive long enough to prevent an ace buff going through.
Now, I thought for perhaps just a moment there, Von C was going to try to, reconsider a little bit going in that deep, but pretty sure VONC means, no fear, just fight. Somehow that will just work out. But if this lucky strike is actually going to be used with the 6 Sins, and he's going to go into a Tyrant's Monaco as quick as he can, what I thought he might do is go into a Tornado Trigger just so he can keep stacking up those the breaking point stacks a little bit quicker. I'm not entirely too sure which way he will go, but either way, I mean, having both of those items by the 11-minute mark or so, Vonsi is going to be a monster to deal with.
Yeah, and so this is just looking pretty good for Nemesis. The kills are still very close, but Nemesis is slowly building that gold lead up. It is right around 1,000 or so for now. And again, we talk about it all the time. Those small victories, the little things that just slowly and continuously build up until you just have enough of a lead to
That is a monocle.
decisively win fights. Von C still just farming, looking for an opportunity to jump on something. He's just itching to get a X-Retsu onto a target and start things off once again. But Nemesis, they've slowed it down a little bit here.
Now you can see the response here from Excrucio as well. I Love Joseph has that Shiver Steel, not really that uncommon here for a Kroll, but having that stickiness is going to be very vital, not only up against Von C, but trying to get Hardek especially out of position. But Lost Boy Top's been doing a good job of keeping Hardek safe. Yeah, the last fight didn't exactly work out in their favor, but overall, they've been quite the powerhouse duo. At the same time, Old School has that Atlas Pauldron as well. So they see Von C going for the stacks, and he's going to be the big instigator for Nemesis Hydra. So between the Shiver Steel and that Atlas Pauldron, they are really trying to just mitigate as much as they can out of Von C.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the strategy seemed to be early on just target Old School. Take Old School down, keep him from being able to farm, prevent him from being able to be a threat in the game. And it was working extremely well early on. It has kind of fizzled off a bit. They haven't really been able to dive onto him quite as hard, haven't been as successful. He does have that Atlas Pauldron and Shiver Steel, so he's a bit tankier. And that's one of the problems that Taka faces is while Taka is extremely strong and can be a game changer, eventually he gets, his strength is in that insane amount of burst and just surprising someone. He eventually gets to a point where you can't just 100 to 0 your targets, and that's slowly approaching now for Old School. Again, as he gets these defensive items, he's going to be able to survive that burst that Taka is able to do, and once he starts then returning his own damage, you could see Excrucio claw their way back into this game.
Yeah, it's a little bit more of a later kind of game plan. If they can actually make it to this Kraken phase, if they can contest Kraken, I think they're going to be just fine. But tanking up has definitely been the name of the game. Look at all the defensive items, including one more Atlas Pauldron. I Love Joseph and Old School going to be rocking both the Shivers and the Atlas. And then on top of it, Ezadox, there's no Warhorn there. It's a Crucible after the Fountain. So, I mean, there is just so much defense now coming into a lot of these.
Yeah, and this is the playstyle of Excrucio. I was reading an article that was written by a couple other members of the professional Vainglory scene, and it was actually highlighting this matchup as one of the matches they were most excited for. And it talked about Excrucio is one of those teams that they like to play a bit more defensively. They like to play a more passive game, wait for the late game, let your opponent come to them, and then try and capitalize on that aggressiveness. And so that's exactly what they're looking to do. The attack of the pack comes out, but Von C is trying to make things happen, and Old School is answering the call. The gauntlet is down, but no one actually got locked up by it. And a great from Hell's Heart to stop Von C in his tracks. Now they continue to dive onto Lost Boy Top. They're all so full, and with that ace and Ezadox and Old School leaving the turret range, they will be able to use these ace buff minions to pick up their first turret of the game. And Excrucio now, they're looking very strong. They survived that early game storm. They weathered the aggression and are this is the point where they can really start turning it around because they have those defenses.
Yeah, Old School was the big pick-off early because they did try to curb down his farm, but as you said, they did survive it. It was only a 1-5. It's definitely comebackable, and now with the turret, with this gold mine, and an ace, you got to be feeling real good as Excrucio. I think they have tanked up to enough of a degree that they should be able to do very well in a lot of these fights, especially if we're going to keep pumping up. Like, we saw the burst go down at the same time as the gauntlet, which is sort of good, sort of bad. I mean, yeah, you can't really leave the verse, but at the same time, if you time it out, you can actually negate both effects with your reflex blocks. So and with so many reflex blocks available for the team, as well as everybody in that area, like the Atlas Pauldrons, the Shiver Steels, there was really nowhere for Nemesis Hydra to go. Once they locked themselves in with the monster, they had to deal with it, and unfortunately the monster overpowered them, which is why we had that ace.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, just Excrucio turning this game around. Now they're the ones with that gold lead. We are post 15 minutes, so Kraken is on the fold, and that can be a really big objective for these teams. You know, an ace is very likely any time that they end up butting heads, regardless of where they are on the map. And all 6 members are now positioned up by the lane, but it does look like Excrucio are going to be the ones gaining that positional advantage on Kraken, while Nemesis just start to back off. And, you know, they want to focus on clearing out this wave, getting those jungle camps. And this is going to be Excrucio starting Kraken off. They cleared out that vision of that scout trap. They know that there is no others trapped in this area. And, oh boy, here comes Nemesis. This could be big. The Kraken is so close to going down, but Nemesis is in the fight. This is one that we've seen multiple times. The Gauntlet is down. So is the Burst of Judgment, but nobody's really that low. Von C steals the Kraken away from Excrucio, and now the fight is on with that regen, but Von C is taken so low. Hardek is already down, and Von C falls as well. Will this be the ace? Lost Boy Tough does get underneath his turret. It's just Old School trying to chase him down, and he thinks better of it. Very wise decision there by Old School, and now the rest of Excrucio are just going to be working on taking out this Kraken as quickly as they can. For Nemesis, they're going to be hoping that they can get at least one turret out of this, but it's not going to happen. That Kraken is just being melted, but Vonsi stealing away the Kraken, so now they didn't have to worry about that massive siege tool pushing in on them.
There was a decision to be made. Like, as soon as they went in, they were going up against a team that had infusions. We had 0 infusions ready to go from Nemesis Hydra, so they had to make a decision. Do they go for the fight and risk the Kraken, or do they get the Kraken and risk the fight? And, well, as you see, I mean, they did drop out 2-0 for the fight, but they did prolong the game and delay the game with the Kraken. Now, the bad news is that this gave out a heck of a lot of gold to Excrucio. Now they're up about, what, 3,000-4,000 gold. So it's still a really good bet for Excrucio to take game number 1. Their tank ability is just so far showing superiority up against some of this earlier damage comps from Nemesis Hydra. But the Kraken will be back sometime in the next 2 minutes or so. And again, we're going to have to repeat this one. If Nemesis Hydra can get in a better position and get infusions, then they're going to have to make that choice. But at least the choice will be a little bit more on even foot.
And right now, you know, the Kraken is going to be up pretty soon. It's a very low cooldown on that timer. So
3 minutes.
Excrucio, they still have the positional advantage right now, and it's going to be tough for Nemesis to try and gain that back. They do still have 2 turrets in the lane. They've only lost 1 thus far, but Excrucio, again, they held out beyond that early game storm that was being thrown at them by Vonsi and the rest of Nemesis. And I really do feel like their composition is just a lot stronger at this stage of the game with that Black Feather and Krull.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely with you there. This late game is really starting to bloom, and again, I mean, 10 kills, 6. We haven't really had a kill in a while now for Nemesis Hydra, and you know that no fear, let's fight, Von C kind of mentality is really just going to start looking weaker and weaker as time goes on. So another flare. Look at this. Again, we're just trying to keep Nemesis Hydra bottled up, get as little farm as possible, because when this next Kraken comes around, they want this Nemesis team to be a little bit starved. Hopefully they won't be able to get those infusions or contests. And, you know, if we can get that Kraken, Excrucio can do a lot of work with it.
Yeah, every member of Nemesis has enough gold for at least 1 infusion. But you look over on the side of Excrucio, they're going to have 2 infusions each. So every single one of them. Hardek only is able to get the 1, but this is going to be the Kraken started up.
5 infusions versus 6. They timed it out. Now again, like, they're in a better position. They're closer. They have those infusions. The Kraken just started, so if they're gonna go, they have to.
This could be the fight. There's Lost Boy Top going in. Kraken is stopped as the gauntlet is going down, but no one gets stunned by it. Everyone is perfectly fine fighting inside the gauntlet. Hardek trying to kite them through the wall, but he goes down. Von C is so low, he's the next to fall thanks to that smite. The From Hell's Heart does not connect, but the chase is on. Lost Boy Top 1v3, but it's not going to happen as that is 3 members that are full health. It takes them a while, but it is nowhere near long enough for Nemesis. And this is going to be Excrucio just heading right back to the Kraken, while we do see Old School on this Black Feather just going to start working on these turrets. The ace buff minions are going to help him out immensely, and they get 1 turret, and then he backs off. The death timers are going to be up soon. He just clears out the jungle, and Kraken will be captured as well before anyone from Nemesis can get there to contest. This is just looking better and better by the minute for Excrucio.
So early on, Excrucio brought a knife to a gunfight, but now in this late game, they're bringing a tank to a gunfight, and there's just really nothing that Hardek, Vonsi, and Lost Boy Top can really do. Like, they could shoot the exteriors, but it all bounces off. The heals, the Atlas Pauldrons, the Shiver Steels, like, you're just not going anywhere. Hardek's the big, he's the big target, and that makes a lot of sense. His mobility is rather limited. He doesn't have a heck of a lot of defensive, but you can see he has that Crucible now on top of him with Lost Boy Top. They are really trying to share out a lot of the defensive abilities, trying to share their money pool in order to make these defensive happen, but they're just so outclassed now at this point. Like, they just can't dent that tank. And now with the Kraken pushing in, this could very well be game.
It very well could be. Kraken is going to be nearly full health. The Gauntlet is used just to try and buy some time to work down this Kraken, and it's actually working out quite well, but Excrucio is just waiting for the Gauntlet to finish before going in. Well, first turret is going to fall. A nice burst comes out, but it just doesn't look like it's enough. Ezidox is really low. He is going to drop, but it's a 1-for-1 as Hardek is down as well. Old School and I Love Joseph are still so healthy. We see Lost Boy Toff and Vonsi trying to use that base to heal up a bit. Old School is just not dropping. He's actually is going to end up going down as he gets chased, but Kraken is still healthy, and I Love Joseph is this super tanky Kroll just pummeling away onto the Vein Crystal, using that smite, and the help from Kraken will be game number 1 going to Excrucio.
Joseph is still not dead. Still not dead. Still not, okay.
He did not die.
So the late game scaling worked out extremely well. Early on, a 1-5 Black Feather. You might not have a lot of confidence in your teammate after that, but you know, they tanked up. They went for the double Shiver Seal, double Atlas Pauldrons, worked out extremely well. I Love Joseph by the end of it with another coat of plates on top, but the Crucible coming up before Warhorn from Ezidox as well. I mean, that negated a lot of the tools in the shed here.